Hi guys, today's lesson is over solving for x. And x might be the letter that you have to solve for, but also be aware that it could be any other letter in a given problem, okay? So again, we're solving for the unknown here. Here are some steps that you might want to write down, and if you can kind of keep these in order, it will sure help you out. First step would be to combine any like terms in the problem, and again, we'll go over an example here in a little bit. Step 2, get the terms that contain the variable or whatever letter to one side of the equation. Isolate, which means alone. Get the variable alone and solve for the variable. And finally, step 4, substitute your answer into the original equation to see if it works. All right, let's go ahead and go over an example. Again, if you need to pause to write down those steps, please do. In this equation here, we have 4x plus 4 equals 20. And what we always like to do is kind of put a line wherever the equal sign is at to separate the left side of the left part of the equation from the right part of the equation. Again, we're trying to find the value for x here that makes the left side equal to the right side, and we're just going to follow these steps. First off, I need to go back and check step 1. Are there any alike terms that I need to combine? And I see right now, no, there's not. So I'm going to go to step 2, get the terms that contain the variable to one side of the equation. It doesn't matter if it's the left side or the right side, but I want to try to work to get this letter, this x, all alone to one side. What's going to help me do that is get rid of the positive 4. All right? And to get rid of positive 4, we just need to do the opposite operation of positive 4, which would be negative 4. All right? So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. Again, positive 4 minus 4 would be 0. But I got to remember, whatever I do to one side, I have got to do to the other side. So since I've subtracted 4 on the left, I need to subtract 4 on the right. All right? And again, notice how my line here is written to separate the left side from the right side of the equation. All right? Now I have here 4x equals 16. 4x equals 16. At this point, there's a couple things I can do. I can think to myself, 4 times what number equals 16? Well, I know that that's 4. So that is my answer, should be my answer. Some people like to do this. All right, divide by the number that's in front of x. 4 divided by 4 is 1. And so I see now that I have 1x. All right? But I don't have to write the 1 out in front of it because I just see 1x. Well, if I divide by 4 on the left, I'm going to divide by 4 on the right. Okay, whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other. And I know that 16 divided by 4 is 4. Okay? So there's a couple different ways you can attack when you get down to the variable that you've isolated. All right? Now the final step is something that students don't like to do sometimes, but it will tell them if their answer is correct. All right, so I have x equals 4, and I can plug 4 back into the original equation. If 4 makes the left side and the right side equal, then I know the solution 4 is the solution to the equation here. All right, so 4 times 4, I'm just going to substitute 4 in for x. Okay, and now use order of operations. Again, I'm trying to see if the left side is equal to the right side. I already know the right side is 20. Well, I know that 4 times 4 is 16. And now I have 16 plus 4 equals 20. And now I know that 16 plus 4 is 20. And so now I'm down to my last step, and this is the step that I want to see here, that the left side equals the right side. If that's the case, then 4 is my solution here to this equation, or 4 makes the left side equal to the right side in this particular equation. All right? Again, this is a step that some students don't like to do. It requires a little bit more effort, but if you do it, you'll know if your answer there is correct. All right? All right. Let's take a look at an equation that would give you maybe a few more steps here. We have 4x plus 20 minus negative 3x equals negative 14x plus 62. All right, again, my first step here would be to combine any like terms. In this case right now, before I combine like terms, I might want to do something with this minus negative 3x. All right, I like to think of this as the opposite of negative 3x, the opposite of what's inside parentheses. Well, if I were to ask you what's the opposite of negative 3x, you would tell me that that is positive 3x, okay? And now I'm going to rewrite, I'm going to keep everything organized here, and again, my line separates the left side of the equation from the right side. Now I see that there are some like terms that I can combine, my 4x with my 3x. So I'm just going to add those together. And notice I'm not trying to do too many steps here at once. So now I have 7x plus 20 equals negative 14x plus 62. At this point, you have some different options. Remember, we're trying to get so the x's are all alone on one side. That's eventually the point we're trying to get to. The step that I chose to take was to add 14x to the right to get rid of this negative 14x on the right. But I got to remember, if I add 14x on the right, I've got to add 14x on the left. And again, it doesn't matter what side the x is on, okay? So now I have 7x plus 14x equals 21x plus 20 equals 62. Again, I want to isolate the 21x here. I want to get the x all alone on one side. This case, it looks like I'm trying to get it alone on the left side. Sometimes you might get it alone on the right side, okay? All right, so to get rid of this positive 20, again, think about how you would get rid of positive 20 to make that 0. Well, then the opposite of positive 20 would be negative 20. So 20 minus 20 would give me 0. That gets rid of that to isolate the variable here, or to isolate the 21x. And so now I have 21x equals 42. And how did I get 42? Well, if I subtracted 20 on the left, I've got to subtract 20 on the right. And so now, again, you've isolated the variable. You've gotten the 21x all alone. Now we need to solve for the variable. What is x here? Okay, 21x equals 42. Again, you can think to yourself, 21 times what number gives me 42? In this case, I know it's 2. That might be a step some of you can take. Or some of you may need to divide 21 by 21, which would just give me 1. But if I divide 21 by 21 on the left, I got to take 42 divided by 21 on the right. So 21 divided by 21 on the left, 42 divided by 21 on the right, that would give me my answer of 2. All right? And then the final step here is I'm going to plug 2 back into my original equation right up here. And again, to make sure the left and the right side are the same. All right? So here I have 2, and I'm going to plug in 2 every place I see an x, okay? So I would plug in 2 right here, and right here. This is what it looks like now, okay? So I have 4 times 2 plus 20 minus, in parentheses, negative 3 times 2 equals negative 14 times 2 plus 62. Now I have to solve using order of operations. I'm going to take care of what's in parentheses first. I see negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. All right? Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And again, notice I put parentheses around every x that I substituted for, which in this case was 2 for x. All right, now I have 4 plus 20 minus negative 6 equals negative 14 times 2 plus 62. Next step I took was to multiply here the parentheses. So now I have 8, oops, sorry about that, 8 plus 20 minus negative 6 equals negative 28 plus 62. How did I get negative 28? I just took negative 14 times 2. All right. The next step then would be this. Next step would be this. I'm going to simplify minus negative 6. Well, if I asked you what's the opposite of negative 6, you would tell me that that's positive 6. And then negative 28 plus 62 is 34. Okay? And so now I'm getting close to my final step here, and I see that 8 plus 20 is 28. 28 plus 6 is 34. 34 equals 34. So I know for sure now that 2 is a solution here to my equation here. 2 makes the left side equal to the right side. Guys, that is your lesson today on solving for x. Take your time, write all your work down, and try not to combine too many steps all at once. That's when mistakes start to happen. Okay? Thank you.